Hey there, folks. Welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a look at another completed Michael Myers mask. This is a Halloween 2 mask. If you've seen one of my previous unboxing videos, then you've seen this mask in that video. This is a... what is it? It's an H2SM. This is done by Rowland Kelly, or at least it was initially done by Rowland Kelly. I'm not sure if that's his specific sculpt or not. I don't have the details on that. But a customer, one of my reoccurring customers, had messaged me and he acquired this mask and he asked me to repaint it for him. So I did just that. I did all of the repainting except for the hair. I didn't do the hair. He wanted to leave the hair as is. So I did lift up some areas just so I could, kind of paint around it. But, yeah, so the hair is not my hair, although the hair on this does look really nice. I like the fiber that it is. I can't quite tell if it's crepe or not, but also the way that it's laid down, it's very conservative, That's one of the problems that I run into myself with these masks is I add too much hair, and I'm still trying to figure out how to get the H2s to be, laid down perfectly. This one looks really solid, so it's a joy to see my paintwork on a mask that has, hair that's so close to the movie, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I went through and I did kind of a mixture of what I've been doing lately. I've been doing some kind of, with the last couple of H2s, I've been doing some more, what do you want to call it? Some kind of rougher textures that I've been doing. It's very similar to the way Mr. Sam Hain, or Mr. Samhain, has been doing some of his paint jobs with the kind of rougher texture. I really like that look, although, that's not what I would consider the most accurate, because obviously they just sprayed the movie mask with spray paint. But I've been mixing that in with some of the, more traditional ways that I do a Michael Myers mask, and I like the kind of textures that you get. Like I've said in previous videos, I don't think the Halloween 2 mask is as rough and dirty as a lot of people like to make it, but it's just really fun to do that. So you can see here there's kind of a lot of nice dirt and grime in some areas, and you get a lot of skin tone throughout the facial features, and I think that just really adds to the aesthetic of these masks, and that's why this mask, the Halloween 2s my goodness, the Halloween 2s specifically have become some of my favorite masks to do, is just because there's just so much you can add to it. And whether you're applying the skin tone by hand with a dabbing effect to kind of add that texture, or you're spraying it on and then you do the white with a dabbing texture to kind of, or a dabbing effect to add that texture, or you do a mixture where you spray it and then you do a dabbing effect in certain areas. It's just, there's a lot of fun that you can do here. It's not as straightforward as some of these how-to videos on YouTube make it. So if you're somebody that's trying to do this yourself, I recommend trying to experiment a little bit and add heavier paint in some areas and kind of dab it on by hand, and maybe give the whole mask a spray and then dab it on heavier in some areas to kind of add texture, things like that. It just really makes the mask look visually interesting. One thing I just added, literally right before I turned on the camera, is the pinhole. I realized that I didn't have it on there. I wasn't really paying attention, so I messaged the customer real quick and asked him if he wanted it on there, and he did reply back swiftly, so that was nice. But, yeah, you can see the hair is a little bit of a gingier brown. That works wonders. It looks pretty solid. I prefer kind of a more of a dirty blonde hair, but this looks really good. And also, I want to mention that the mask looks a little bit shiny right now. It does have that shininess in person, but it's not quite as intense. I have to say this in several videos. For some reason, this camera just makes things look a little bit shinier than they are. I'm not too sure on how to fix that in post or whatever, or in my camera settings. I mean, one of the masks I was doing, it looked silver on camera, and I did not like that at all. But yeah. If you want this to be super accurate, then it should generally have a flat mask or a flat finish, because on set you know, Dean Cundy was spraying the mask with matte sealer to kind of help with the shadows and stuff. He's the same cinematographer in the second movie, but I don't know if he was also doing that for the second movie. I don't really know the specific information on that, but he was doing it for the first movie. However, when you get areas on the tip of the nose like that kind of get buffed out, they kind of get dirty and things like that, and they're constantly getting rubbed up against something, those areas will start to develop a natural shine. So if you want to add some more texture to the mask, you can give the mask a matte coat, but then add a specific shine to certain areas like the tip of the nose, the raised areas on the ears, certain spots of the neck. I think adding a specific kind of a change in finish in certain areas can add a specific look. Like the overall frame of the face is pretty subdued, but then like in some of these high traffic areas, it's a little bit more glossy. So yeah, this is pretty solid. I already had the Velcro on there, so I didn't have to worry about that. And then I just went through and added some of the dirty areas, like I said. I didn't do the eye cuts. Those were already done. And the mouth is glued shut, so I didn't tamper with that. One thing I found interesting about this sculpt was that the base of the chin is really solid. It's a lot thicker than everything else. I don't know if that's something that's generally, if that's a reoccurring trait with these masks, or if maybe it was just this specific pore and the way that it was sitting just kind of let a lot of the latex gather right here. I'm not exactly sure how that was accomplished or if it was an accident or not, but I do find that intriguing. There's not a whole lot to go over as far as the overall details. I kind of used mostly a gray. I did do a gray wash on the mask. I did some gray detailing, some brown detailing, and a little bit of my charcoal. I did use some black paint in some areas, but it was mostly around the lip area. I don't really use black paint too often because it can come across really strong. You might see a little bit of a shine in the hairline a little bit. That's still areas that are probably still a little bit wet. So yeah, I don't know. We'll probably try some different lighting and some different environments. We'll see if we can get that all in this same video. But overall, there's not a whole lot to go over. You guys have heard me go over my process a few times now. I just figured I'd go ahead and show you guys this one. I do have to get it shipped out today. So with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell, all that would be greatly appreciated if you decide to do so. Until next time, true believers.